I want to say welcome. So this is like welcome. It's like coming towards your heart. Welcome again or welcome back. So welcome again, welcome back for those that have been doing the class. And if you're new, it's like you're digging something up out of the ground, like scooping it with your hands. New, just welcome to the class. So these are your C hands, and then they come together and they kind of group together, class. I'm going to put this on the bigger, you know, actually, I don't even know if you guys need it bigger. Maybe I'll just keep it smaller. All right, so this cartoon I thought was perfect because there's lots of reasons to learn sign language. And the wife says to the husband, I think you need a hearing test. And the husband replies, why the heck do I need a hairy chest? so with sign language, there's many different reasons. I learned because it was fun. So fun is coming off your nose, coming down because it was fun. But, so this is the button where you have your hands crossed. But it was so good with children. I could tell them no. This is like your no fingers, no, without saying one word. So I could be on the phone and they would be like talking to me and just trying to get my attention. And I could say, no, no, I don't even have to look at them. No. And they understood. It's kind of like a light bulb coming up in your brain. They understood. Or I would say, wait. These are your wait fingers. They're just moving back and forth. Wait. I just go, wait. And they would understand. So it was really nice teaching kids. So introduction. So we already kind of tried figuring out the Zoom video. It's easier to see me. Hopefully everyone can see well enough so they can see my hands and learn easier. If you'd like to introduce yourself and just say your name and where you're from and what experience you have in sign language. Just jump in because I can't tell who's first in line. So just someone jump in.
I'll start. I was first on the call. I'll start.
Okay.
This is Dee Dee. I took sign language when I was in one of my first years of college. So 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there. And, but it was C sign, signing exact English. So
okay.
There's a bunch of words I'm not going to have to worry about here.
It's easier. So it is easier. ASL is easier, which is nice.
And I haven't done much with it since my husband still likes to tease me about doing my John Denver song of for one of our class projects, pick a song and have to, you know, sign sunshine on my shoulders.
You still know it?
You know,
That's a good one.
no, I haven't done anything with it in years. So it's like, man, I wish I had learned it better because it faded.
That is wonderful. That is fun. Fun. Okay.
Mimi Marks in Mesa, Arizona. And I'm just learning, though I have a 65-year-old hearing impaired son that went to school for the deaf, but they didn't teach him this and they didn't teach us. We were either oral or manual at the time.
Yes.
But I want to learn now.
No, it's interesting. Like they've gone through phases and they've changed. It used to be that they learned all sign language and then they changed it. And then it was like, you couldn't use your hands at all and they had to do all oral. And so it was like feeling, if everyone wants to feel their throat, the vibrations, they would feel the vibration of when someone would speak. So they'd feel it on someone else. They'd feel that vibration, have to feel it on themselves and then try to mimic that word. So if you think how hard that would be, like to learn anything, that would be hard. And so now they think of ASL as their first language. And so then they can learn other things afterwards. And so it's, you know, helping. And so that's wonderful that you're learning ASL now. Wonderful. So going up and down, wonderful. Okay, who's next?
Hi, I'm Colleen Thomas, and I have a neighbor back in Iowa who is deaf and mute, and so I'm hoping to learn a little bit more. And I did about 3 classes with you, so that's helped. I think I know my ABCs.
Yeah, and you'll just get to practice. So this is the sign for practice. You have your pointy finger out to the side, and then it just goes over and over. So practice, practice, practice.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you came back. All right, who else?
My name is Rena. And my husband is Brian, and we're taking it. We've got a daughter-in-law who's very hearing impaired
All right.
and losing more of her hearing, and she needs to be taking this course.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So does she know that you're taking the class?
Yes, she does.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet she'll want to learn. Once she sees you doing it,
she does want to learn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
Wonderful. Yeah. Great.
My name is Laurie Baker. I'm from Oklahoma, but I'm here in Val Vista Village. And I just love to sign.
Oh, you're
It's
great.
good to sign when your husband's across the room and you don't have to yell.
Yeah.
Just get that eye attention and do a little bit and he'll understand.
So true.
Just like the kids.
True. Yep. Yep. So I have a story where my husband, he learned sign language because he worked with a deaf man. And so we were at, I'm trying to think if I know Disneyland. I don't know the sign for Disneyland, but we were at Disneyland and we were both in two different lines with different kids. And I was able to get his attention. So I just was waving my hand. He saw me. And then I was able to sign and ask if he had one of the kids. And he was able to sign yes, and so it was just, for me, I was like, that's so nice, because otherwise, I think I had been trying to call him and he couldn't hear the phone because it was so noisy there. But I was able to get his attention and then sign it to him. So it's so cool to be able to communicate. This is communicate with someone without saying a word. Okay, who's next?
I'm going to butt in one more time. This is Dee Dee. You just reminded me when I first learned sign language was in middle school. I learned the alphabet with my girlfriends, and
So
in French
fun.
class, boy, did we get in trouble. As we were spelling things across the room that the teacher who was already mad at us didn't like at all. So I'm sorry, I've forgotten about that.
That is so
the most
funny.
fun.
That is
Yeah.
so funny. This is Donna, and in middle school, we also learned the alphabet so we could put our hands by our side and talk to each other during class. But I've forgotten it all.
That is so funny. So you were sneakier about it.
Yeah, but she didn't ever see us. We had them down by our side.
That is good. Yeah, you've got some practice with that. That's one thing that's really hard. So hard is like your fingers, like two hooks, and then they go up on top of each other hard. It's hard for me to read finger spelling because it's so fast that it's really hard for me to read it. Like my mind just goes, ah. So that's good. Like you've had good practice with finger spelling.
Long time ago.
No, that's good though. Okay, who's next?
Oh, I'm Cathy Schreiner,
Cathy.
and it's my first class here.
Yay.
We're from Salt Lake City, but my before I go any further, I forget. Can you tip your screen down because your hands are cut off at the bottom?
Let's see. You see now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure.
Anyway, so we learned sign language. I don't know remember exactly how, but we used to. I have 3 sisters, and we used to sign in church.
I still do that with my husband.
Yeah. So, but we had to hide it from our mom because it meant we weren't listening. Oh.
That's funny. No, but I feel like that's a good way to, you're still being quiet.
I still can spell, so I can still spell with both hands. I can do the alphabet.
Good.
So, yeah.
Good. Well, welcome.
And what Laurie's taught me.
Oh, good. Thank you, Laurie, for all your help. It seems like you're helping a lot of people in your community.
We just had a memorial Sunday evening, our annual memorial for friends who have passed here the past couple
Aw.
of years, and I signed Amazing Grace
Oh, wonderful.
while everybody was singing.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Mhm.
Okay, so who's next?
I'm Amy from Wisconsin, but at Tower Point now. And just doing it again, I did a few of your classes previously. And I have a significant other who has a cochlear implant and a hearing impaired and belongs to Hearing Loss Association of America. So there's some folks there that can partially signed. So just something I've always been interested in.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for learning more.
How do you sign understand?
It's like the light bulb going off. So bling. So it's a light bulb going on. So I understand, and you could be nodding your head, understand. So I don't understand.
With your index finger.
Yeah, index finger, and you just shake your head like,
Oh,
don't understand.
oh, it's not little. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember last week I was asking you what there was a word that you used?
Oh,
with
and you
one
thought it was my
finger?
pinky.
Yeah,
Oh.
but it's understand. Oh, okay.
Understand. Oh, good. I'm glad we figured out that mystery.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to figure out last week.
That's why I'm like, there's not that many signs with the pinky. I'm like, I must just be throwing my pinky out because I could not think of a sign. Like I thought J and I, but I was like, there's not that many.
With a lot of the
you-
visual, oh, sorry. With
No,
a
that's-
lot of the visual
Okay,
English
good.
is how I first learned all the ing. We would flip that out. If you wanted to say doing,
Oh,
yeah, they would
So
always
that would
throw out that ing.
so that would be with the signed English.
Yes,
Yeah. So with
I learned it as visual English is
Yeah.
how I first learned. In
yeah, so with
depthology.
ASL, you don't have to have the
Right.
ing in it. So
Right.
it's good to know though, and it'll be fun to see because I learned a little bit. So this is a little bit like when you're just kind of brushing your fingers. I learned a little bit, and they do signed exact English. So it's C, so signed exact English, but not a lot. So
Yeah.
it'll be fun to see like the differences. This is different. They're like kind of going apart from each other. They're different.
And I'm the one who took the college class in it. So like, a semester worth.
Yeah.
This is Dee Dee again. And it was, at the time, they were trying to say it was going to be the new thing that ASL was probably going to go out because being able to sign what you would read in a book, for example, was supposed to be the new way. And so here we are 40 years later, 45 years later, and no, it's not. ASL apparently is going strong, and it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it was a hearing person that thought that. A deaf person was like, no, because whatever's easier and faster is what you want.
Sure.
So this is easier. So when you brush your hands, like
Okay.
in front of your hand, so easy, and then you go easier, you just go up. So easier, and then this is fast, so faster.
What's easiest?
You just go up higher,
Yeah.
so ES. And if you wanted to if you wanted to really show, like you probably go like easy at the very top, like full, like easy the most.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? It's hard for me to see everyone, so I'm trying to scroll down. But
Oh, my name's Heather.
hi, Heather.
Hi. I learned sign language in high school, but I never ever used it. So now that I'm retired, I figure why not do it again?
Okay, this will be like a review for you. So it's an R finger and coming up.
Well,
Review.
well, all I remember though is the ABCs.
ABCs, yes. I need to go back so I can see myself, so I can see that I'm in camera view for you guys. Okay, who else? Who's next? This is next. Over your hand, over to the next side. So next. So who's next?
Hi, I'm Candy. I learned sign language in junior high school. I helped one of my teachers with deaf children, and they were also Spanish. So teaching them stuff, but I haven't used it in a long time. And it's funny what you're saying about your children. When we go to the grocery store,
Yeah.
they say, Mom, can I have this? It would be no or yes, or, and then my youngest would always say, Mom, I need
So milk, is that what it was?
no.
I can't see your bottom hand. Oh, to go to the
Oh.
bathroom. Go to
Yeah,
the bathroom, yeah.
I gotta poop.
Yeah. So it's like this. Yeah.
So, but that was good in the grocery store because I didn't have to holler at them, just yes or no,
And they don't have to yell it like, ah, and let everyone else know.
Right.
That's funny. Okay, do we have more people? Anyone else? We finished?
I think so. I mean, I'm
Okay.
Carrie Flower. I hope you all know who I am. I put the classes together for Lifestyle University, and I have no experience in this. But one interesting note, when I was in elementary school, I did ballet classes, and one of the girls in our class at the time was deaf.
Wow.
And she
Oh,
could
wow.
hear all of the dancing. She could watch us to follow, but she also felt the vibrations on the floor. And I
That
thought
is
that's
cool.
how she got the beat, was
Yeah.
from the vibrations on the wood floor. Yeah, it was awesome.
That is really cool. So this
Yeah,
is the cool
yeah.
sign. You have your thumb to your chest and you move your fingers. So that is really cool.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to think of someone that's deaf being able to
Right.
dance.
In a dance class. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. Okay, so go on to the next page. Okay, so this cartoon just talks about like where a lot of universities don't recognize ASL as a foreign language, or it's kind of not really foreign because it's American Sign Language, but to take in college as another language. But I was able to take it as my foreign language and was able to take all the classes and all the deaf culture classes. So I had enough classes to have it as my minor. I didn't declare it as my minor, which I regret now because I was also had sociology as my minor, and I thought I was going to go into social work, and so I was like, oh, that's more important to declare that as my minor. But now I'm like, oh, I should have done ASL because I had all the classes, and then I could have actually taught in the high schools with your minor. And so I look back and I think, oh, I should have, but it's been fun for me and I've enjoyed it. But I started taking sign language in high school, and just because it was fun, and it was like community classes. So I would just find people that were teaching it in the community. Excuse me. And then I was able to get my foreign language credits. And yeah, all the ASL and deaf culture classes, which it was interesting for me to learn the deaf culture classes, because then you see sign language is not just the language that you're learning, but also how important it is to the deaf community. I already mentioned my husband worked with a deaf computer programmer, and if you think about it, computer programming is an awesome job for someone that's deaf, because computer programming is like another language, but it's an all visual language, and so if he's able to type it and communicate with people on the computer, and he's brilliant. And so my husband would come home every day and ask me questions about it. And so we practiced sign language together. And then I continued to teach ASL in just small school settings and also in community classes like this. So it's been fun for me and I loved it. And I'm glad that you guys are all joining me so I can teach in this setting. Okay, so first we're gonna go over the history of ASL. So it's A, and then S goes in front, and then L, ASL. Or you can do sign and then goes out into language. So this is someone signing, and these are your L fingers going out into language. Okay, has anyone heard of Gallaudet or Gallaudet University? Some people have.
Yes.
So he's kind of known for first bringing American Sign Language together. He was a missionary, and he saw people signing, and he realized we need to get like a organized language so we can start teaching people that are deaf. And so he went to France and went to the schools there and learned more about how they were teaching the classes there. Before he started his schools, there'd be communities of deaf people. And so all their signs would be a little bit different. And a lot of times people that lived close that were deaf, they would kind of congregate together. And so then they would have more of a community of deaf people together. But then he started his schools for the deaf. So in 1817, he opened his first school for the deaf in the United States. And those that graduated from his schools would then go out throughout the United States and start opening up their own residential schools or keep teaching the language within their community. By the 1900s, there were residential schools for the deaf where children and adults could communicate and live their own culture without the barriers of not having that spoken language. So ASL has its own sentence structure and order. So it's, you have to think of, they'd say the topic first. So if it was to say, I'm going to the store, like signed English would be like, I am going to the store. Whereas with ASL, it's, you say store. This is just your pinched hands together. It's your thumb pinched up against it, your fingers. So store, then I go. So it's giving that, it's a lot of languages have this, like German, I can't think of any others, but a lot of languages do the main subject first and then say what it's about. Also, you'll put the time before the topic and then the action. And so if it was yesterday, you're taking your thumb by your cheek and going backwards. So think of your body as present time. So yesterday, store, I go. So it's really yesterday, store, I went. But they just have to say I go. So it's a lot easier in a lot of ways to be able to see it. So you're just seeing the topic and then who's doing it and what they're doing. Okay, with all languages, there's dialects. So depending on where you learned sign language, the signs might be different. So even if you Google signs, you can type on Google any word and then just have ASL behind it, and it will either show a video of it or a picture of it that you can then look at and understand. But they might have like 2 or 3 different ones because depending on where you are or where they're from, it might be different. So this was an example that I thought was good. So looking good, kind of like the slang, like you look good. So it's like, you know, and you want to do that face like looking good. But then with someone that's from the Black community, they'll be like, ooh, you know, that is looking sharp, you're looking tight. So it's like the okay sign, but then making that face too, like, looks good. So it doesn't mean it's wrong if you see a sign that's different than what you learned. It just is a different dialect. That's fine. Okay, this is about signed English. So, signed exact English. It's a visual language, but it follows the exact sentence structure of English. So there's a lot more to it. And so it complicates it. It uses English grammar and not the grammar of deaf sign language. It is comprised of vocabulary of borrowed and made up signs and a lot of finger spelling. So they finger spell a lot. I cannot see what's on the other side of that. Okay, so in signed English, it'd be, what is your name? That would be exact signed English. Or ASL, it would just be name you and just have your question mark, and that's all you have to do. Or you can do name you what? And so easier.
It is easier.
It is. No, it's a lot faster. Go back to here. Okay, oralism. So this is a time where, so in the 1860s, oralism began to be taught in deaf schools. And this is when they wanted them just to feel the vibrations, read lips. And so they had to learn what word looked like what. And some people are very good at it, that they can really read lips very well. But sometimes they'd even tie their hands back behind them because naturally deaf people wanted to sign with their hands. And I don't know about you guys, but I like talking with my hands, no matter what, even if I'm not signing. So it would be hard. If that is like, if you're deaf and that's, you know, the way your hands are how you communicate and you're getting your hands tied back. So then they really had to, you know, work on like using their voice and the vibrations of the voice to make the sounds. And now it seems like it kind of is meshed together. So now it seems like like the parents, the moms and dads, they see the benefits of having, you know, the oralism, so the kids to be able to learn to read lips and everything, but then also learning sign language and having them come together. So they're kind of, it's kind of meshing together and using both. Excuse me. Okay, so with this cartoon, someone's saying that I'm deaf, and a lot of deaf people can talk. They can talk, and it might sound a little bit different, just because they can't hear that it sounds different, you know, to other people, because they can't hear to make the changes. So they might say like, I'm deaf, and then the person's like, well, do you read lips? And the person that's deaf says, no. Do you read signs? Because someone that's hearing, they think like, well, just read my lips, that's easier. But for someone that's deaf, say, no, you just read my hands, and that's easier. Okay, so we're gonna practice. So let's practice our ABCs. Be good review for everybody. And again, review is the R finger, it's the thumb in our palm of our hand, and it's going backwards because you're reviewing everything. Review. Okay, so A, I want to think of like the stem of the A is on the side of your hand, and then this is the circle. So A, B, it's going to be like the hand is kind of the B, and then this thumb is kind of represents the circle of the B. C is an easy one. I like C. So D, your hands are making the circle, and then your index finger is pointing up. You see D, E. So I've always scrunched up my hand just to make the E look a lot different than the C, because if you see the C is this, but the E, kind of scrunch in your fingers and your thumb a little bit more. Bring the thumb in. E, F. I always think of it as a feather, feathered little strands of a feather. So F, G. I'm gonna have it sideways, G. G. See that? And pointing finger, G. H. Think of it as the H kind of lying on its side. So if you think of your knuckles with the line there for the H, then it's lying on its side. H, I, just your pinky finger up in the air. And then J is you're drawing the J with your pinky finger, J. K, I try making it like a K. So I always think of it like the line coming down, and then this part of the leg coming down, and then your thumb is kind of coming down the other way, K. L is easy. It looks like an L. L, M. Okay, so these are the ones that you want to pay attention to. So M, your thumb is putting right in between your pinky finger and your ring finger. So that's the M. So you're like popping that thumb up between your pinky and your ring finger. Now I'm thinking of the M has more bumps, and so if I think of that thumb as the stem kind of, and then it has the two bumps kind of going through. So M. So N, you just move it over one. So now it's between the ring finger and the middle finger. So N. N. O is easy. O. P is like the K, but upside down. Yeah, but more like this. But I always go down more. P. Q. Going down. Q. R is your middle finger and your pointer finger twisting. S, your thumb kind of right in the middle of your fingers. S. T kind of goes along with the M and the N, but the T is the one right by your pointer finger. So I always think of it like if you pointed out your pointer finger and then your thumb, like to make a T. So you just have it closed like that, so T. T, U, your middle finger and pointer finger straight up. And B is easy. Open that up. Looks like a B. W, that's an easy one. X, I always think of it as the claw. The hook. X. Y, it's like a Y. And Z, you just take your pointer finger and draw it out. So who remembered? Who remembered? This is remember. You're taking your thumb. Good. So yeah, you remember, you point to I remember, and you shake your head. Remember. Good. Okay, does anyone have any questions with that?
A lot to remember.
Yeah, there's a lot, and you can, see it. And there's a lot of videos that you can watch and see them doing it, and they'll do them slow, so then you can practice those. And we'll review over that like each class too, because it's just good to really know it.
Some of them, the orientation of your hand,
Mhm.
I'm not ever sure if I'm doing it correctly, if it has to be pointing right at the person or toward me, like D, like this or like this.
I always do it to the side. Yeah,
That's what
like you're doing it like this. I do like E, B, C, D. I kind of do it at them. G, E, F, G,
Okay.
H in the sideways. So I'll do it again, and I will just do it how I've learned it. But again, it might be different than how other people learned it. So, but this is how I would do it. A, B, C. I just do it right at people. C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Okay.
Yeah, but it might be different. But that's why it's hard to kind of see ABCs and finger spelling. One of the helps is that you want to sound out the word rather than say each letter. So if someone was spelling out their name, I wouldn't go, so my name is Rebecca. And so I wouldn't go R-E-B-E-C-C-A. I would sound it out. So I'd say Rebecca. So then once it finally comes to you, even if you missed a couple letters, you might still get the idea of what they finger spelled. So you want to sound out like you're reading it rather than trying to memorize every letter that someone finger spelled.
Okay.
Okay. That was a good question though. Thank you. Okay, so personals. So I thought this cartoon was fun. So someone that's signing and that's deaf, like to stop it, to stop the angry signs, you just turn off the lights. And that's it anyway. Okay, so these are personal signs that will help us. And so this is in any situation. These are good to know. First one is help. So if you need help, you're taking your thumb hand and it's on your flat palm and you're bringing it towards you. So if you need help, and like you would show that in your face. So your face shows so much. I always say with sign language, it's acting because you are showing what it is that you need. So it's like help, help, you're really pulling it in towards you and let someone know that. So if you're wondering if someone needs help, you like have your eyebrows up. So this is the questioning one, and you'd be pushing it towards them. So help. And then this is the question mark. You just take your little pointer finger and just move it up and down. And just like, and it's kind of like represents a question mark. So if you were to do that, but this is just faster. So you just like, and asking a question like, do you need help? And then just keep looking at them. So help. So food is just you're taking your pinched hand and putting it to the side of your mouth. You don't have to actually touch your face, but it's like towards it. So food. Water is the W and it's next to your mouth, water. Toilet is the T sign and you're shaking it back and forth, toilet.
This seems like a much nicer way to say I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, instead of doing the,
Yes.
yeah, just say toilet. Those little kids, they probably like the other one better. So hungry. Let me get back a little bit. You can see. So hungry is like you have your open. It's a little bit more open than the C sign, and it's upside down, and you're kind of like showing that your stomach is empty. So it's like going all the way down, like hungry, hungry. And if you're really hungry, you're just gonna show it. You'll be like,
That face.
yeah. So hungry. Thirsty. Sorry. Your throat is dry. So thirsty. So thirsty. Thirsty. So any questions on this one?
I do have a question. So
Yeah.
I'm ambidextrous, so sometimes I do right or left. Is that going to confuse a deaf person?
No, that's
No.
fine. Because when they're talking also, they will do reference points. So if they're telling like a story, this is the sign for story. The story, they will say like one person came in and then another person came in and they represent, then they'll like kind of switch over to this side and then they'll sign for this person. And then when they start talking about this person over here, they'll switch over to this side and start signing for this person. And so,
Okay.
yeah, I think it'd be fine.
Okay.
I understand. Any other questions? Okay, so this is finished. So when we're done with this one, we'll finish and we'll go to the next one. So it's like, I always think of like flicking it off your shoulder. You don't have to worry about anymore that responsibility. You're finished. That is like straight lemon juice and warm water. I try to like clear out everything in my throat. I get better from this stuff.
Put some honey in there too.
That, you know, that's a good idea. I need to do that. That'll taste better. And
It'll be soothing.
Yes, no, I'm gonna do that after this. Okay, I'm gonna move this over so I can see the. Okay, so I'm just with this cartoon. It's the do's and the don'ts. So you can tap someone on their shoulder. What I've learned was not to touch people unless you needed to, but that like I would, that you either go in front of their face and just have your hand going up and down to get their attention, or that you could tap on their table to get their attention also. But what I learned was that you don't actually touch someone, you know, unless you're already in a communication talking with them. But this is from someone that is deaf, so I think it could be fine, just whatever area you're in, or you'll find out too. But mostly, like, I'll do like a side thing, like, excuse me, over to the side, just so then they can see. Okay, so yes, it's nodding the head, yes. And you want to be nodding your head at the same time. So even if you just did this, that's on English. But this is the yes. No. So it's the thumb and the pointer finger and the middle finger and just going up and down. And this came from N-O. So N-O, but then really fast, if you did it really fast, they just did, it would have been N-O. So instead of making the whole N, I mean the whole O, N-O, they just now go N-O, no. So first, right, finger spelling originated. Please, so you have your flat hands and you're up against your chest and you're rubbing around your heart. And so it's like, please, or please, you know, whatever it is, like you want to show in your face. Please. Thank you is coming from your mouth area towards that person. So thank you, or if it's to thank a lot of people, you go, thank you. You include a lot of people, thank you.
That's from Jane.
You're welcome is like coming in. You're welcome. For just one hand, you're welcome. So how I learned you're welcome, it was the same as thank you. So how I learned it was thank you, and then also you're welcome. It was just the same one. But now that, and that was 30 years ago or whatever that I did it. And so now it's more like I see this, you're welcome. So thank you, you're welcome. It's kind of coming back, and that makes sense. So thank you, it's going out to them, and you're saying you're welcome. Welcome. Okay, any questions on that one?
For some reason, my C sign, I had something like thank you, where you'd have the thank and then end at your hand. Does that make any sense to you?
That's good. So that's the sign for good, and it does get confused a lot of times. So this is good and this is bad. So a lot of times people would get that confused thinking this was thank you. So if it's your hand, it's representing the sign for good.
Okay, it explains why our deaf cat bagger at the grocery store looked at me funny.
He's saying, good job.
He's like, "Oh, okay."
And you're like, I'm trying. Yeah, so good goes into your hand. You think of thank you, it like goes towards the person. So thank you, you kind of take it towards that person. So thank you. And then good is into your hand. Bad, kind of move your head away from it. And you're like, that's bad.
Got it. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, are we finished? You see the finish sign? Good. Okay, here's the healthcare sign. This is what I need right now. So not really, but so hospital, you think of the Red Cross. You're drawing like a red cross with your two fingers, your pointer and your middle finger on your shoulder. So hospital. Doctor, you're taking your D and he's taking your pulse. So doctor. A nurse would be the N. Just right at your pulse, tapping it. Just a flat hand. Nurse. So a police, it's like the C hand, like representing a badge. It's just going on your chest. And my daughter, who I was teaching the signs to, she was like, oh, that's C for cop. And I was like, yeah, that's a good way of remembering it. So it's really just to represent the badge of a cop, or a police officer. But I'm like, hey, yeah, think of that as a cop with a C.
The letter P would not be the same thing?
They might be able to understand, but I think it's more the badge. So I think it is a badge that they're representing rather than cop. So I think the C will make more sense to them. They'll understand it better.
I'm thinking sheriff as well.
Yeah, I think any law enforcement would be the cop around here, and then they'd understand. Okay, so ambulance is fun. It's like you have your two open hands, and then you're going around like the sirens. Woo, woo, woo. So the sirens, the ambulance, and then that would be the same. Like if someone didn't understand exactly, well, what sirens is that for? You could say hospital sirens or cop sirens, but a lot of times just for ambulances. Okay. Oh, and let me go over this cartoon. Oh, just someone that's deaf going to the eye doctor. And the doctor's trying to understand, like, what's wrong? So this is the sign for wrong. It's the Y hand hitting your chin. What's wrong? And he's trying to sign what it is. And the doctor doesn't understand. That's hard.
Yeah.
Okay, does anyone have any questions with these words? This is the sign for words. Like, oh good, I see some finished. Yeah, that's the sign for word. Finished, finished. And good. Okay. Okay, so this was with this cartoon. He's fainted just because he was so surprised. This is a sign for surprise. Like your eyes are just like, oh, they open up. Surprised. He was so surprised that someone knows sign language. So it does make a big difference for people that are deaf. That if like you know sign language, they're just like, oh, they're so relieved. So he asked if we had someone on staff who knew sign language. And when I said yes, he fainted.
Well, I can imagine, suppose you're in a foreign country and you don't speak their language and somebody says, I speak English. Like, oh, good.
Yeah, one of the, I was watching a video and one of the quotes I thought was so good is a guy was saying that with deaf people, they don't view it as a disability, but they do realize they need accommodations. And he said, which would be the same thing as if a hearing person came into a group of all deaf people that were signing, that person would need accommodations. And I was just like, that's what it is. It's a different language. It's a foreign language. And so you do need someone to either interpret or some way of being able to understand. So. Okay, so these new words. So need is like the hook finger, just with your pointy finger and going down, and you're just tapping it on the ground. So I think of this as like, if you need something, you hook into something and you need it because it's hooking in because you need it. Not just that you want it, but you're like hooking into it because you need. And you bounce up and down. So need. If you want something, you're like gonna grab it and pull it towards you. So want, grab it. It's more like in your, like, yeah, there. Want. You're grabbing it, pulling it towards you, want. Forget, you're wiping your forehead clean. That brain is forgotten. You forgot. So like kind of like a clean slate. I forgot. Learning is you're picking up something from the palm of your hand and putting it into your brain. So learn.
Okay.
Learn. So what's fun about this, if you're a learner or a student, you'd be a learn, and then you go down into the person placement, which is going down with two straight hands. So a student would be that, a learner, a learner. A teacher, this is teach, is you're taking something out of your brain going out. So a teacher would be a teacher, going straight down. So it just kind of represents the body of a person. So a learner, a teacher. Okay, any questions on that?
They sound very logical if you think about it.
It is, and that's what I try to tell, like how I see it, and I know other people are going to see it differently, but I do feel like it's logical, you know, that it just makes sense, that it just like, I understand that makes sense. Okay. So these are our feelings. So feelings is our middle finger, represents a lot of our feelings. I'm kind of getting confused. I think that's feelings. Feelings, so it's just one hand with your middle finger, feelings. Might have forgotten though, I'm not sure. But I know the other one's in the list. So sick is you have your middle fingers and they go towards your head and your stomach area, and you kind of go in little circles, and then you show your sick face. Sorry. Sick, and you just kind of do little circles. Sick. Hurt is you're using your two pointer fingers, and it's kind of like going opposite directions, almost like a drill. So if your head hurts, so I think of like a drill going in your head, like, oh, my head hurts. Or if it's your shoulder hurts. Oh, shoulder hurts.
That's awkward.
It is. You don't have to go that close. Like you could point and do it too. So if it's like, oh, I can't reach there, you know, you can just be like, so, or knee or any place, you know, you can point to the area and just do it. It hurts. So good, we already went through that. So it's coming from your mouth and into your hand, good. Good. What was bad? Good, so you're going away from it, bad. You want to turn your head and just like kind of shake your head like, not with that, that's bad. And then so. So who did that with growing up? Yeah, so I showed my daughter who's 13 and she's like, what is that? And I'm like, you don't know the so hand? I thought that everyone knew it. So.
Forever.
Yeah, but they just don't do it, I guess. But okay. And this cartoon was just silly. Just like someone can't listen, you know, to a conch shell. And so they have a conch shell for the deaf. I thought it was cute. All right. Okay, so, oh, I didn't ask, do we have any questions on that one? Any questions? Nope, finished. Okay, so I already brought this up, but I just have a visual for you. So you just type in any word and then put ASL behind it. And it will either show a picture or give you a video. So this one shows the picture. So this is friend. So you take your two hook fingers and you just kind of interlink them, kind of like a friend is like a chain link, friend. You just do it on one on each side. So friend. But that's how you can learn any word that you want. Just Google it with ASL behind it. Here's an American Sign Language Dictionary. I had planned on teaching this in person. And so I'd gotten like the American Sign Language Dictionary that people could look at, and then also like games. I got a bingo game and so many fun things. But they are good resources. But this one also is showing friend. So again, it shows just the picture of friend. if you don't like going online. But I mean, truthfully, everything is online, so you really don't need to buy these, but I just bought them on Amazon if you are interested. Okay, so here's YouTube videos to watch. So if you printed up the handout, it has these YouTube videos on it, or you can just take a picture with it on your phone, so then you can look back on it later and see which videos I suggested. So one is the story of American Sign Language, and he just draws out the kind of the really condensed version of American Sign Language, what the history was. First 25 signs, and then the ABC song, and it's really slow, and it's cute. It's like a young girl that's doing it, so it's cute watching it. So those are 3 videos that will help you this week. Okay, and then this one is, I never understood why hearing people always sign school, because this is the sign for school, which is also clapping, you know, but it's like kind of, you have your hands off a little bit to the side, school. At the end of a performance, when we all know you should sign tree. So this is for sign language.
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands. And so, but like if we have any questions, otherwise we can say yay, and then we're finished. But does anyone have any questions?
Could you put the video up again? I was going to take a picture, but I wasn't fast enough.
Yep.
That we
There you
can
go.
watch. Okay, I'll get my
Do I
phone
need to
ready.
move it over a little bit? Let's see.
Let's see. Takes a while to get there.
Do
Okay.
you need me to move the screen over a little bit because the picture is cut off?
No, that's fine. If it'll just go. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Great. Great. Okay, so any questions? I'll just show you the last one. This was another thing that I bought. It's ASL flashcards. And if we have time at the end of class, I can pull up some of the flashcards so then you can see what's on those. But that's just a fun way of like learning extra words.
I got that.
I did too.
Oh, you bought it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice, isn't it? It's like fun, like
It
words
is.
that you wouldn't even think to look up. And you're just like, oh, that's a good one to know. That's awesome. Wonderful. Yeah, and also I got that through Amazon. So we have a couple minutes.
That was just, where did you get it from? Amazon?
Amazon.
Yeah, I just ordered it from Amazon.
I thought it'd be a fun game with my granddaughters, kind of
Oh,
like
fun.
charades.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, so then you just like opens up and it stays, you know, it's open like that, and then you just can grab a couple words. It's really tight in there.
I like how it has the little ring in there. So when I print out what you're going to be doing for class, you know, the next day, I can get all those words on the ring and just practice those words for, you know, the class that's going to be, that's coming up,
so
I should say.
the hole in it. So you do the,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
on the very back of the box, there's a card in there and it's got a ring attached.
I did not even know that. Thank you for sharing that. Yay!
Yeah.
I'm learning too. I never got to the back. I never even saw that. Yeah,
And
that's
since it's
so-
all alphabetical, it's all color coded too.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna just do 3 of them because we have 3 minutes left. So here's the first one. So this is advise. So a closed handshake on the back of left hand opens and moves forward. So advise. So kind of think of like giving that information, like spreading it out to people. Advise. Advise.
It's almost like teach.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to think, like with teach, you're coming from the brain out, but advise, I guess, is coming from big
I'm
group.
sorry, learn.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so learn would be open and coming to you. So this is the other one. So yeah, think of that because this is learning if it's coming to you, and this way it's going out to people. So it's learning coming out, going out to people. Good, I like that. Let me get it in. This is afraid. So move both hands towards center of chest, repeated motion with the scared face. You want to make sure that you're doing that. I can just shake. And Last one. Africa. Close hand in front of chest, open hand, and bring hand down, closing fingers. I have no idea. By reading that, I can't even figure that out. Looks like something like that. So Africa.
Huh.
Africa. Close hand in front of chest, open hand, and fingers down, closing fingers. So, Africa.
Not a common thing we'd use.
I know, and I've never looked it up or learned it. So that's why these are nice though, because they are like good words I would never have known otherwise. So
Was it an A at the very first
no,
part of it? So
No.
I would think it'd start with an A for Africa.
I know, but if you, I don't know if you can see, it's so hard to,
Yeah, it is hard to tell.
yeah.
Okay.
But it looks like it's just pinched fingers, closed hand in front. So it doesn't say an A. I think it's just like a closed hand. Africa.
Yeah.
But a lot of times with deaf people, if you started with an A, I almost want to do like Africa, because that's what would make sense to me. So start as an A and then go into an F and then go back to an A, Africa. But I mean, they might understand that. They might understand that fine. So kind of interesting. Okay, so I think we are finished. So we're finished with our class. So again, class is the C hand. This is class. So class, finish. Now we get to apply to each other. And I'm gonna go to bed. If I can get over this.
Feel better.
Interesting.
Feel better.
Yes, I'll get my honey and my lemon water and try going to sleep. But thank you everyone for joining, and thanks
Thank
for people that came back to class. And I'd love to see if I have my, there it is, my notebook for next week's classes. It's sign language building blocks. So it's going to be more things that you can do in sentence structure, and also people, so family members, so mother and father, and times.
Are there any class books we should be purchasing to work from?
You know what? It's I'm not using a book, so
Okay.
I wonder maybe what I can do is I can put for next week's class, I will put the next week's words up, so then you guys can take a picture of those, and then if you want to review those for the next week, you can go over those. So if you want to do that, I can do that for next week, so then you guys can be studying other words, or you can just be practicing the words that we learned this week. And then I'll introduce the new words next week, but I'll still do that. So for people that want to, you know, be practicing like the more of the words, that they'll have that available to them.
Just
I noticed on the email,
Uh-huh.
toward the bottom, if I could find the email here real quick. On the bottom of the email, if you scroll all the way up, it's got what's going to be on the class. Like yesterday when you sent the email of the course number and password.
Uh-huh.
If you keep scrolling down, I printed out the language 101.
Good. So it looks like I have all my notes on here, but kind of looks like this.
Yeah, that's on the very bottom of the email.
Yeah. So that will be available to you the day before class. So that does get sent out to you the day before. And so you will get to see the words the day before that you can practice these words.
All righty.
We're bringing that up. Okay. I'm going to go now, but thank you guys so much for coming to class.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Rebecca.
See you later. It's like taking your hands by your eyes and then going later. So this is the sign for later, and this is see, like your two eyes are seeing something. And so this is see you later. See you later. Bye.
Feel better.